Hi guys, Danica Ferranti here from mybeautyscraps.com. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am a brand new independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm very excited to start sharing tutorials and project ideas here on my YouTube channel and also on my blog. Today we're going to make this super cute, super easy, spooky Halloween card using products from the brand new holiday catalog from Stampin' Up. It just was released, this catalog, on September 1st, and it runs through January 4th. You can shop products from this catalog until January 4th. And I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check it out yet, but wow, this is definitely the most fun catalog I've seen from Stampin' Up! I want almost everything in the catalog. So I was really excited to get playing with the products that I did already purchase. I love Christmas, so it's really hard for me not to jump right into the Christmas projects, but I wanted to try to make a few fall and Halloween cards first because I love Halloween too. All of the decorating, I love the spooky stuff, I love the cute stuff. It's just such a fun time of year, and I just love the autumn season, so I definitely don't like to skip over that and get right to Christmas, but wow guys, there's lots of cute Christmas stuff too. But today we're gonna make this card together. This is my first real card tutorial, so bear with me. I did all of the cutting ahead of time to try to make this process go a little smoother and a little quicker so that this video doesn't end up being super long. But this is the spooky card we're going to make today. I'm going to have all of the details also available for you on my blog, all the measurements and things like that. That's at mybeautyscraps.com. And I'm also going to have a product list where I'll list everything I use to make the card so that you can shop for the items if you want to recreate this card yourself. And I'm also going to be opening my own Etsy shop where I'm going to sell the cards that I make myself and that I make myself here on my YouTube channel. I think that'll be fun. So let's get started. Let's see. First of all, I started with some smoky slate cardstock. I cut a full piece of cardstock in half, scored it, and folded it in half. So the finished card is going to measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And as you might have noticed on the back here, I always stamp the back of my cards. I think it's a great finishing touch. And also all of the images are copyright Stampin' Up, and that's right on the bottom of the stamp. And then it says hand stamped for you. This design in particular is my favorite. I definitely use it most often, but it is part of a whole stamp set that has all different designs that you can use to stamp the back of your cards. So I'll have that information on my blog as well. So we've just got our regular card base set to go in smoky slate. So I'll set that aside. And I also cut the next layer for my card in basic black. So that's measured at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then my top cardstock layer is again in smoky slate, and it measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And I ran this through my Big Shot with the embossing folder. It's a woodland embossing folder, and I love the texture that it gives. This design is so fun and versatile. And speaking of its versatility, you can buy the embossing folder as part of a bundle in the new holiday catalog. And it's bundled with this, oops, sorry, trying to get it in frame, this stamp set called Among the Branches. It's so versatile. It covers Halloween, Christmas, fall, and Thanksgiving with the sentiments, and also the little items that you can stamp among the branches of the embossing folder. Also, it comes with its own little tree, so you can use that as well if you just want to use the stamp set you don't have to use it with the embossing folder. This you could use all by itself, but the possibilities once you add the embossing folder in are endless. It's just such a cool set. So today we're only going to be using the little raven and the spooky eyes from this set. But before we get to stamping, I like to kind of give this a little bit more dimension by sponging some ink over top. It really, the embossing folder gives a crisp, beautiful image. You can definitely skip this step if you want to, but I think it just adds another bit of interest. So this new stamp pad that we're using is the archival stamp pad that also just came out in this catalog. It's an archival stamp pad in basic gray. The new catalog also has one in basic black. We're going to use the gray today. So I like to take my little sponge dauber, which these things are awesome. I use them on almost all my projects. I tap it into the ink pad, and then I like to tap it off just to make sure you don't end up with too much ink when you first put it down. But it's also very forgiving. You're just lightly brushing over the raised parts of the image, and it's just going to make those trees pop out a little bit more. This step is very simple to do. This card is really very simple to do, but this step is probably the most time-consuming part. And you don't have to focus too much on the bottom half because we're going to be covering the bottom half of the design with a very cool spiderweb doily that's in the new catalog as well. If you like these spiderweb doilies that we're using on the card today, you should definitely order one soon. The catalog just came out and the spiderweb doilies are already on the back order list. We're Stampin' Up! Is expecting a new shipment of them soon. So if you want to secure your place in line and make sure you get your spiderweb doilies with enough time to use them for your holiday Halloween projects, you definitely want to order them sooner rather than later. So I think that's good. Just a little light touch there. I think I'm just going to put a little bit more on the right hand side here because the doily is not going to quite extend all the way to that part. And that's it. So now we're ready to stamp our little raven and our spooky eyes among the branches. So I already have them mounted on clear blocks. I'm just gonna tap it into the ink pad, and I already showed you the finished card in the beginning of this video, but what I did when I made that first card was I took one of the spiderweb doilies and I laid it down about where I was going to adhere it. So you kind of want to figure out where you want it so you know which part of your image is going to be covered. Then that helps you know where you're going to stamp. And when you stamp your image for the first time, I always like to stamp it off on a scrap piece of paper to make sure I'm inked up all the way and going to get a crisp image. And then you just stamp it down and up. And then we've got one little set of spooky eyes. And we're going to do one more, I think over here. I kind of like them a little bit askew through those trees. This stamp set is so cute. So now we're going to do the raven. So I'm going to ink that up and stamp it off. See how that first one's just a little bit splotchy. I'm going to keep doing it until I get a nice crisp image. Then I think he's going to be perched right up on this branch. Then lift up. Very cute coming together. So that's all of the inking and stamping for this card. I told you it was really easy. So the next thing we want to do is adhere our spider web to this piece. So I'm going to be using our Tombow multi-glue. This is in the regular annual catalog, but in the holiday catalog, Stampin' Up's come out with a new glue with a very fine tip precision applicator. So I ordered mine, but it isn't here yet. I think that would be perfect for this card. So I'm excited for it to arrive because you really want to try to get into all of those fine little spots. So I'm just putting a little dot of glue where there's the most paper. I'm going to go all the way around in a circle. And then I'm going to put a little dot on the ends where there's the little fleur-de-lis point in the spider web. Just to make sure it's stuck down really well. You don't have to go too crazy. We're going to be adhering some items on top of the spider web, which are going to also help hold this down. And you just want to lay it down. I'm kind of centering the circle part in the bottom left-hand corner. So I'm just pushing it down to make sure all those little points on the fleur-de-lis are adhering to the cardstock. And then we can lift it up and we're going to trim the edge. I find it's easier to do this from the back of the card. It would probably be a good idea to wait until your glue is dry so it doesn't slip around at all, but in the interest of time, let's get that last piece from the front. We're not going to wait for it to dry. Get rid of that. At this point, I'm going to start adhering the different layers of my card. So we're going to take that basic black piece and I'm going to use the glue again to adhere this to the basic black. I don't want to use my snail tape runner just because of the embossed image. I don't want to apply any pressure there that might squish any of that raised embossing. Plus, I like to use the glue when I'm layering cardstock with this very small border. The border that you're going to see is only 1/8 of an inch around the edge of the cardstock. So by using the glue, if I put it on a little bit crooked, I still have a little bit of time to kind of wiggle it around and straighten it out. When you use the fast fuse or the snail adhesive, once you stick it, it's pretty stuck. You kind of have to rip it up and adhere it back down again. But with the glue, you at least have a little bit of wiggle time. So there we've got it on our basic black layer. And I just like that it gives a nice little border, some added definition. And then we'll put some more glue on the back of that layer. And adhere that to the front of the card. I always flip it over because I stamp the back first. I've got to make sure we're not doing anything upside down. So the next part of our card uses another one of my favorite Halloween products from the new holiday catalog. It's the Happy Haunting washi tape set. You get all 3 of these in the set, and I just love these washi tapes. So we all know washi tape is kind of like a transparent tape, so you're gonna see the background through it. So what I decided to do is to kind of make these washi tapes into little mini strips of pattern paper. So just grab a scrap of Whisper White cardstock. Here's a little scrap from some of my paper pumpkin kits that I just shared with you guys. So all I did was take some of the washi tape and I laid it down on the Whisper White cardstock. Trying to get it right up against the edge because then you only have to cut out one side. I'm trying not to stick my head in there. So I'll just lay this straight down the whole length of my scrap paper. Snip off the edge. And I'm going to do the same thing for my other washi tape designs. So now we're going to cut these little strips apart. You could lay this down on your paper trimmer. I find it's easy enough just to cut them out with scissors. I just love this washi tape set. I really think it's a must-have. The bat is so cute for Halloween, and the other two are perfect colors to use together with the bat for Halloween, but you can use them on their own throughout the year. There's just little stars on the orange washi tape and a very cute little, I guess, wacky herringbone sort of pattern on the purple one. So you could use them all year round, and I definitely plan on it. It's certainly great fall colors, but depending on what you pair them with, you could use them for all sorts of things. So now we're ready to make our little banners. I kind of just eyeball it. I lay it down on the edge of our top layer where I'm planning on putting it, and then I snip it off for how long I want it to be. And then to cut a little dovetail in the end, I just make a little snip down the middle. And then I come in from each corner to the center. Then you have a perfect little dovetail. And then I want our bat piece to be a little bit longer. So I want the bat piece to be a little bit longer than the purple piece. Plus I'm gonna start it out a little bit into the card. I kind of stagger them when I lay them down. So I'll give it a cut right there. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to do the same thing, just make a little snip in the center and come in from each corner to make a dovetail. And then we want to adhere this. You could definitely use your snail adhesive to adhere it, but I'm going to use the glue again just because I think it's going to give me a little extra security for that spider web. Since we can't use too much adhesive on the intricate design, this extra glue is going to help hold it down. So for placement, put my purple one down first. And then we're going to overlap the bats by a little bit. Plus the glue gives you a little bit of wiggle time. Again, if you don't put it on perfectly straight, you kind of have a second to wiggle it around. And I do like that the ends kind of curl up a little bit, so I'm not going to adhere those down all the way with glue. I don't know if you can see that, but there's enough glue on the main portion that it's going to hold it down nice. So next we're adhering this spooky die cut. And this is actually part of a different bundle. I believe the die cut portion is called the seasonal frames die. But you can bundle that together, which I did, with a Sparkly Seasons stamp set, which is another set I love. But the dies really work well with a lot of other stamp sets, not just the Sparkly Seasons. So we're going to lay this down, figure out where we want it. I think I want it mostly over the purple. I think it gives a nice contrast to the orange. So again, if I had that new fancy glue with the fine tip, I'd be using that. But I'm just going to try to be careful with the Tombow here. And I want to make sure I get the high points and the low points, the beginning and the end. You don't have to go crazy covering the whole thing with glue. I'm just obsessed with die cut words. I think they're so fun. Nice little smoosh down gently so that too much ink doesn't, sorry, not ink, too much glue doesn't squish out from the back. I think that's good. And when I first made this card, the last example I showed you, this was my intention, this was my plan, but I still felt like it needed a little something. So I decided to make a couple little flags for the top. So here we have another strip left over from the washi tape banner we made down below. So I'm just gonna, again, eyeball it. I wanna make sure it doesn't cover my raven there. And I'm going to cut a little mini flag. On this I'm just going to use my snail adhesive. And then I'm lining that up to the edge of just our top layer. And then I'm going to cut out a little strip from the orange washi tape. I just don't want it to be quite as long as the purple one. And I'm going to do the same thing, just make a little banner. This one's a little harder because it's skinnier. It's harder to hold on to. There we go. And again, we'll use the snail. I love this grid paper too from Stampin' Up. It really protects your work surface. And it's great to have a little scratch something to stamp off onto. And the grid always helps me line everything up. I eyeball things a lot, and it usually works, but it's nice to double check yourself. You don't want to spend all that hard work making a card and then have it be crooked. So that's it. That is our spooky Halloween card. I promised you quick and easy. My video might not have been too quick, but I promise you this is a quick and easy card. Again, my first tutorial, so thanks so much for those of you that hung in with me, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to make this card yourself at home, I'll have all of the supplies listed on my blog, and that's at mybeautyscraps.com. And if maybe you're not a crafty person yourself and you want to purchase this adorable little spooky card, I'm going to have it available in my Etsy shop, which I'll also have a link to from my blog. So make sure to check out mybeautyscraps.com. You'll have links to instructions, measurements, links to the products I used, and also where you can purchase this card if you'd like to. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. I'm very excited to have more tutorials for you guys in the future. If you have any suggestions of any products you'd like to see in action, definitely let me know. If I have them, I'd be happy to make a tutorial for you. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Happy stamping. Bye.